what is natural is not always optimal, right? And so, yeah, the natural instinct of like, I've got to put myself first. It's got to be me. It's got to be, how does this benefit me? So right there, if I hear those type of things, my first thing is like, I think we need to look at the questions you're asking.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Visionary Leader Podcast. It's so good to see you. And I'm here with Jim Robinson, and we have a special guest. Bryan Glover is with us. And Bryan, super happy to have you. And you are the Director of Infrastructure and Operations at Ramirez Hospitality Group. Is that right?
That is correct, yes.
Great. Do you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself for our audience?
Yeah. Goodness, I've landed in infrastructure out of coming from years of working as a performance coach, and strength and conditioning was kind of a passion that started and did that for 25 years. And what interested me in that field was a professor back at the University of Nebraska. Her name was Sheila Kepler. And she introduced me to Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And in that process, it really helped me kind of create into a belief system of what did you want to do? What do you enjoy doing? What are your gifts? And one of the principles too that reigns supreme for me is making a difference. And I love that aspect about leadership and helping people and doing things that maybe not provide the answer, but go on the path of what are some options here and what are some processes to help that solution. And so strength and conditioning really navigated well to do those things to help navigate coaches and their programs, athletes and their personal successes, and really kind of being the creator of some new avenues for them to approach to challenge them in maximizing their potentials and their gifts. And so taking that into operations with infrastructure specifically, I know just enough to kind of keep me going and communicating with vendors and contractors and just being able to recognize what is going to benefit our current situation and our needs, and being able to take those things and transform our current program to what it is right now.
That's awesome. And so I read a bit of your LinkedIn. So if you saw someone looking at your profile, I was out there a little bit just reading some of your posts and different things like that. And so you shared about Stephen Covey. I remember also big impact in the 90s. So it was like mid 90s. Is that correct?
Yeah. Big. 96.
Yes, 96. Was there anything else that influenced you to be so passionate about developing people?
For me, it was I've always been a man of faith, and I've always been trying to navigate what platforms could I use, right? Without going into theological or seminary schools, how could I be used? If I didn't feel like that was necessarily the direction or the calling that I should go, I was definitely mentored and on a path to, you can make a significant impact through just coaching. And coaching doesn't have to only be athletes. It can be in just the opportunities of business, your classes. Because at the time, just being a young student, I didn't know much. And I was able to, take that information and just see different trials as new opportunities, but trying to hone in, not being so vulnerable to so many opportunities at one time. And so focusing on strength and conditioning really did help me kind of hone in on athletes really need guidance. Athletes really need encouragement. They desire direction. And I was able to take that type of information and just continue on with building relationships. And honestly, it's the same thing with teams and cultures, with businesses or companies. it's just navigating and cultivating those type of relationships, kind of digging down to the root of who they are, where they want to go, and what they want to be, and not taking them for the answer, but taking them for the journey of the process.
See you journaling some bombs there, Jim.
I was just making a comment in my book here. I just wrote teams, athletics, same as business teams. We're all looking for what's next. We're looking for how can we be better. I know that's why my teams do. Athletics are the same. How do I get better? John Wooden, he wrote his book, and as a coach, we all know John Wooden, UCLA, and we know of him because he said, "Sit down, boys. We're going to show you how to put your socks on." And everyone's like, "What are you talking about?" It's those fundamentals, and it's literally, it doesn't matter what your team is. Those fundamentals are the value bomb. It's literally put your socks on, because if you're truly uncomfortable on the court, you're not going to play well. You're not going to play at your best. And so some of those fundamentals, we've been really drilling down, even in my companies, we're going back to some fundamentals. We got to get to some of the basics, because sometimes you just lose your way. Tony Robbins said, the guy that throws free throws, he does 500 every single day, and he hits 20, but he throws 500 a day. It's the fundamentals that keep repeating the fundamentals that's going to make you the best at your true giftedness, your genius, if you will. But you got to keep playing the same game and repeat. Dave Ramsey says he's the chief repeating officer. If you want it to keep working, you got to keep repeating the same thing, and it's fundamentals. It's totally based on fundamentals for that win.
Yeah. I heard you say too, Bryan, that something that stood out to me was these are my words, so I'm sorry. I didn't write down exactly what you said, was that you don't have to have all the answers, but you see the people and you're able to lead and coach them.
Yeah.
Right? So it's almost like you were saying, I'm not the expert here in my field. However, I know who is, I know their strengths. This is how I interpreted what you said. Is that right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I mean, everybody is going through something, and there's challenges. And we here at the Ramirez Hospitality Group, we totally believe in developing self. And I've been a part of a lot of organizations that it's the opposite. It's like, what are you going to do for me? The business, the company. And I've seen the mindset where when you're developing the self, there's a bit of this initial, that's weird. That's why do you care about me that much? And it's not so much to like, hey, we're not going to create the counseling sessions, but it's ultimately like, what do you need? Because some people maybe need 2 weeks vacation. Other people, work is their vacation. And that there's a different mindset for some. And that's where understanding that concept, it's like, and being open to those different opportunities, and not just being like, are they going to think less of me if, like, I applaud Bryan, taking a trip. He took a vacation and needs to go, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
just some rest and relaxation. But ultimately, sometimes, other people can just maybe grind too much and don't recognize there's a need for some rest, need for relaxation. This comes to mind as a coach too. It's like a strength coach, I've always said this, is a stress master. You get to manage the stress that goes into the athletes' lives, because you are interested in their nutrition, you're interested in their sleeping patterns, you're interested in their social life, because are you getting to bed at a decent time, or are you just trying to cram 3 hours of sleep in? And then it's like, what's going on with your relationship? Is it healthy? Is there encouragement? Is it stressful because there's a demand maybe that you're unwilling to provide? And so you become this ultimate figure of managing all of these things, or guidance. And it's not so much you have, like, as a coach, I don't have control of those things, but giving the athlete the recognition, or this team member, what's going on, and maybe like there could be something here that you need to work on and dive in. And there's this pathway. This comes to my mind of dependence, independence, and interdependence. And as a parent, I'm always trying to get my kids like the next stage, right? I've got a wide range of ages of children that are just dependent on me. Safety, food, shelter. They are totally dependent. But there's going to come a day, and I've got some of these too, where they desire independence. They want to step away. They don't want the authority in their life. They want to make the decisions. They want the boundaries removed or less of the perimeter exposed. And then the ultimate goal to get to when they become older and young adults is this interdependence. We're working together. We're striving for relationship and family unification. And that's just a general model there because I love that aspect because athletes and team members or family members, those stages are real. And it's trying to identify where you're currently at in that existing relationship to kind of maybe navigate the waters of moving forward into the next level of whether it's dependence, independence, or interdependence, or taking a step back. Maybe, as Jim was talking about, maybe we missed some fundamentals in this relationship. Maybe we were missing something. We're not keeping it as simple as it used to be. And now we need to hone it back. And that is something I've found in relationship with athletes and even in the current world with team members that has just been really realistic in helping them, and people encouraging me in my process of recognition of those type of relationships.
Yeah, they say the playful part, even in business and at home and wherever, the playful part is where things come out. And when I do some coaching, is I describe that as you got to use that easy button. Everything's got to be simple. And I tell a little story. I say when you're 5 years old and you get out of the car, mom's taking you to Walmart, Sears, wherever you went as a kid, you look for the puddles. You go and run and you jump as high as you can. Bam, you hit that puddle and you watch and you see the water go everywhere. And then when we're 15, we start avoiding the puddles. We're literally like, okay, I'm going to walk around that because now we're too cool to get wet. At 25 and 30, we start filing complaints with the property owner because there's a puddle in the parking lot. And by 40, we're suing them because my shoes got wet. We got to go back to being that 5-year playful piece. And much like when you got on, Bryan, we're talking about how we can be playful. We can make it simple to do great things. We do not need to complicate things. We have Nerf guns in every office in the building. And if you hear the battery clip go in, it's game time. Somebody's getting shot with some Nerf balls. And we break out in those sessions because you can feel the vibe totally change. We need to keep things super simple, but we got to figure out, even at 60, I got to figure out how to remain playful because it's easy to lose that. We get so laser focused on just being better. I was in the gym one day and I was doing 1,150 pound inverted leg press. Okay. And the nice gal that's running the gym, she walks over to me, she's like, "Are you training for a competition?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "Well, why are you lifting that much weight?" And I'm like, "That's a great question." And because I only kept making things more difficult for me, instead of repping, I was simply going for the biggest thing I could push. I pushed 1,150 pounds. I'll never do that again. I literally stopped. I'm like, that's just stupid. I don't need 1,150 pounds on that sled.
Right.
We need to figure out how to keep things in a more simplistic way and do those same things. The phrase, how we do anything is how we do everything. And it's literally when we're good at home, we'll be good in the office. And if we're good in the office, we're going to go home. We learn in the office. We experiment at home. We're not learning great things watching TV, staring at football. We don't learn cool new stuff being at Disneyland, getting on a roller coaster. We go to our office, we go to classes, courses, conferences, and we learn. And then we take that stuff home. It's where I'm getting fired up today, guys. Listen, man, I'm getting on my pulpit here, buddy. I'm just telling you, man, so much opportunity in this is for people to simplify these things, man. Let's not overcomplicate this stuff.
And another model that comes to my mind that we use and I've been trained on is this awareness, choice, and commitment, right? And so on the surface level, there's an awareness, right? At some point, we're doing the leg press for whatever reason. You set up like I needed stronger lower body strength or I want to prevent osteoporosis. You had a why. There was an awareness. And then you made the choice. Like you got a gym membership. You went to the gym. Maybe I got a program, whether it's a personal trainer or online. You made that choice. And then the peak of it, or the bottom of the funnel, is the commitment. You were committed to it. Now it's going to be 3 days a week for like a 8-week period with maybe a goal of doing this. And when you do it that way, it's going to transfer to other avenues of your life. You're going to probably have a little more energy. You might be maybe a little more sociable. Who knows? You're going to be a little bit different. And then it's going to help your character, because that perseverance model, right? You're going to have the moments where you don't want to do it. You're fatigued. You're exhausted. I can't do this project at work, or I don't want to talk to this vendor. When you are putting yourself in a position of recognizing the awareness, making the appropriate choices, and sticking to a commitment, it gives you a whole new you and a purpose, and really generates a stronger belief system, producing better results in your life, your business, your family, your community. And so that's another way of looking at it, from the simplicity thing of just kind of making yourself aware of what is going on.
Yeah. 5 rules, not 55.
No, simple.
Keep
right?
it simple.
So Bryan, I'm gonna bring us back a little bit. And so it sounds like you have so much experience and passion caring about people. So we want to focus a little bit on, have you had an example where, why someone so good has left you, and what did you do wrong, or what were some of the things there? So like I said, you have a lot in play of just the care and concern and even process and frameworks that you're using. Have you had the experience where someone really good left, and what did you learn?
Yeah. Really good question. And there's some deep thoughts there. And for me, when it comes to developing team members, I guess I approach it with the mindset of helping them become the best that they can be, and to be a disciple in other places as well. I guess I've always never felt like somebody needs to stay loyal to me. And I guess I define love as self-giving. And it's more like, what can I invest in team members so that they can go? And if it means moving on to another place, I want to know that I gave them my best, and the current knowledge that I have or wisdom that I can pass on to them, for them to be successful, so that they can create more mentors, so that they can create more successes in the teams that they're a part of, or the companies that they get to work with. And so, have I been saddened by people that have left because, there's been a lot of investment and a lot of opportunity? Absolutely. And some dear friends who I would call friends now, and no longer mentees, but they've moved on, and they've claimed success, and they're receiving a new mentor, and they're training or new mentee in their processes. And that is just some of the biggest satisfaction that I can see. Now, workplace related, for somebody who came in, I don't have a great example of something like that. I guess my stories would maybe be on the lines of, like, I felt like maybe some people left maybe little too early for monetary things, maybe things of that nature. But ultimately, the way that I approach it is simply like, I want them to be the best, and not to hold them back, and not to be overtly controlling in that nature, but to help them play to win, and whatever desires or passions that they're having in their pursuits.
Yeah, investing in somebody and building them up. I mean, that's what we're called to do as leaders of companies, owners, entrepreneurs. Call it what you will. At this point, we have an obligation. I say moral obligation. We have a calling. It's on us. We have to build people. We have to invest in people for them to be their best. Period. They're going to leave, but that doesn't change the loyalty concept. Loyalty doesn't mean stay.
Yeah.
Loyalty means we just developed a rapport and a relationship that we get to both carry on forever. Does it hurt once in a while? Absolutely. You're like, man, I thought this guy or this gal would be with me for the rest of my life. And that would be a disservice to them. We had a guy on the show, I don't know, 6-8 weeks ago, and he created in his group, he came from Procter & Gamble. He's got a coaching business now. I forget his name. I apologize for getting his name. He was very impactful. But he said, we created an alumni from the business. And when you leave, we have a separation, but we don't separate. You're a part of the alumni. We have Christmas parties. You get invited. And he says, the reality is these guys go away and they go think the grass is greener, but they also get educated at the next group and they learn all these new gifts. And then they reapply and like, hey, would you have me back? He's like, absolutely. You're part of the alumni. And not everybody, of course, makes alumni. We need to separate some people because they don't belong with us. But the ones that do, that we invest in, loyalty never goes away. The phone call is only a phone call. You just call them or you text them, how you doing? I hope you're doing amazing. But they're out learning stuff that they're going to bring back and be able to teach. In some cases, we've brought some people back over the years, and that's really powerful. And hearing that he created an alumni, like and very intentional that when you leave, I think that's a powerful tool. And then we implemented it, and we haven't had anybody join yet because everybody's staying. But it's being in business 40 years, I had to figure it out pretty early. Like, man, I got to keep these people for a while. I got to grow them to be their best. And I have tenured employees still in the field that have been with me 35 years. And literally that was a true gift to me because we were able to get them in. I couldn't afford to pay them. I paid them cheap. And then now they make a lot of money, but it took us a long time to build to that level. But I was as loyal to them, and they knew they could count on, we're going to grow. We're going to get smarter. We're going to read books. We're going to get conferences. We're going to go to classes. We're going to engage really smart people. We're going to bring in teachers. We're going to bring in coaches. Always have the power or the law of anticipation, as it's called by Maxwell. You're anticipating next steps. You don't leave. I wrote a chapter called In Sickness and in Health, and it's because we know when they're going to call in sick on Monday and when they're going to call in sick on Fridays. It isn't chicken wings, people, and it isn't bad sushi. It's because the health of the company, the health of the role they're filling got unhealthy. They don't know what's next. And if we keep them informed as to what is next, that's a game changer. They don't leave, man. They don't leave because they're anticipating, okay, how can I grow? What else can I do? How can I get better? And everybody doesn't grow at the same pace. They grow differently. And we have to be super empathetic to that. We have to understand, like Bryan said, the one guy finds peace and solace in working 80 hours. The other guy needs to go have margaritas in Mexico, Bryan. But that's a difference in understanding that. And I think that really does create a healthy environment for your team. Make sure they have the ability to do that freely. Make sure they're compensated to do that. Pay them well. Don't fight over $1. Pay them well. Do not use the golden handcuffs. I bought a pair of golden handcuffs I use in speeches. I have golden handcuffs and I hold them up. And if you feel that way, today's our last day together. I don't want you to feel controlled. I want you to feel in control. I want you to be a participant and a contributor, not controlled by the environment in which we created. And that's a very different game.
Yeah. So for someone who's a newer leader, we all have an ego, right? So our ego sits on our shoulder.
Your ego is not your amigo.
It is not your amigo. It is not. And so I want to go for anybody who's learning.
By the way, that's the worst saying I've heard all day. I'm not writing that one down. Not your amigo. I'm writing it down, by the way.
I think one of the hardest things is to learn it's not about us. You said it though, Bryan. And so what advice do you have for somebody that it's natural because we're human to feel like, oh my goodness, I did all the things. I can't believe they've left me. We might not say that out loud, but that's a reality. You're going to struggle and grow. What tips can someone embrace when they're feeling that way? Because I want them to know it's human. You're going to work through it. I think it's acknowledging it. But so what advice? You are seasoned, right? So help someone newer.
A few things come to mind with your comment there, what is natural is not always optimal, right? And so, yeah, the natural instinct of like, I've got to put myself first. It's got to be me. It's got to be, how does this benefit me? So right there, if I hear those type of things, my first thing is like, I think we need to look at the questions you're asking and where's the direction. And if the direction is just all pointed at you and not maybe the surrounding your environment that you're in, there's something there. And like I said, I believe love is self-giving. And again, does not mean you should never receive. Whenever you give, you need to be a great receiver as well. But how you're going to define ego, for me, you have the old coaches, right? Leave your ego by the door. Just do what I say. I love this that your ego is not your amigo. It's just not your friend. It's not somebody. It's like who is investing in me. Taking that in and having this mindset of like dying to self and building others. But again, it's not so much about monetary things like, okay, I want to help Jim get his business to 30 million. That's a great goal, but it's more about what can I do to help the culture for Jim's business? Because I'm not going to be personally responsible for that. It's going to be a collaborative effort of team and people. And if that team or those people don't believe in the vision and don't see where the vision is going, they don't have the direction because maybe my ego is blocking the vision, or there's blinders, or there's some tunnel vision there. There's some problems. And I think that's where for that young leader, it's hard because I'm still working on it myself. I mean, I personally, I've got things that, I want it this way, and we have this phrase too of playing to win and we're playing not to lose. And when you play not to lose, the concern is large, the control is small, right? Like you're not in control. You just have all these concerns. But when you're going to play to win, the control is large. It's opposite, and the concern is little because you know what the controllables are. Like great coaches like Saban and Krzyzewski, they understand. Like Wooden, you were just talking about, created a process. He created a system. Gentlemen, we're going to sit on this bench. These are Converse shoes. These are wool socks. You're going to take one wool sock, put it on this foot. You're going to take the second, put it on the step by step. This is the process. This is going to prevent blistering. This is going to keep your ankles stronger so that a healthy athlete can be the best athlete. And we need you to be performing at the best that you possibly can for the purpose of the team. You doing anything outside of this is a little selfish behavior, and there could be some ego. And it's fun. I think there's some great stories behind Wooden and Walton. I think Walton kind of came in with some ego, and Coach Wooden was somebody that could just address it and talk about it. And but then Coach Wooden being the great coach that he is, was able to possibly adjust and navigate like, hey, I'm not here to make Walton a robot. I'm here to possibly like get the best out of him for the benefit of the team. And they were able to do those things. And so those things kind of come to my mind for that young leader.
Egos. I mean, it's one thing that we always say, like when I'm going to coach somebody, I tell them, don't worry about checking it at the door. That's old. I need you to bring that ego with you because I need to know who I'm actually going to get. Yeah. If you bring it with you, I can address that. I can work with that. I can capitalize on it for you because ego is what grows us. We have to use that in some cases. It makes a significance. There's a significance thing. If you don't have significance, you're not going to lead anybody. So you literally roll into the building and they're like, I don't know who that guy is. He doesn't matter. You better roll with your ego because it's going to matter. Your significance is going to show up and people are going to hear you. How you address them becomes a you thing, not an ego thing. So for me, it's always bring that ego with you. I just need to see who it is. Bring that thing in here. Let's drag it in, kicking and screaming. Let's have a party about it, but let's see who it is.
Sure.
Because now I know I can trip it. I can fix those little pieces. I can get around it, or I can capitalize on it for you. I can tap into that. If you take one of these, top baseball players, top football guys, they got egos. They don't have a clue in some cases, but they got an ego. And if you want to capitalize on them being their best, you better capitalize on that ego.
Yeah,
because when you start saying, dude, you're the best, it's the John or George Washington story. Mama knew how to make him George Washington, or we'd never know who he was. Yep. You're the best, George. You're the best. The school wrote the letter. You suck. You can't be in this game anymore. You got to go home. You got to go find a new school. And it says, Mom, what does it read? Because he's illiterate. Mom read the letter out loud, says, son, you're the best in all there. We need special education for you because you're out doing that school. He became George Washington because of that letter.
That crazy.
Something interesting you said too, Jim.
Powerful.
I think ego is driven by fear, I think a lot. And so it motivates us to go forward and do things. But if you can allow space for the ego in the room, you can get under that to understand the fear, and then you can address the fear with them, help them feel whatever that fear is.
Yeah.
You get to partner with them and help them actually go forward.
Yeah. And the funny thing about fear is, and how we define it here, is it's usually false evidence acting real. And it's up here. It's all this mind game where it's like, oh, what if I do? No, don't play that game. Just, and what I hear you saying, Jim, is be who you are, be real. And at times you just need to be vulnerable and you need to share it. Like, man, I'm struggling at home and it's affecting work, and that's okay. Yeah. Like, cause it's like, we get it. We're all, every one of us have a life outside of work. And it's like, maybe, again, who knows what the situation could be, but it's important to just express it. I think for me, it's been super easy to build walls and like, okay, I'm going to be a smiley, happy, nice face because I just want I don't want my problems to be affecting other people's problems. But in reality, it provided lack of guidance or direction because I was kind of being a little bit of a false portrayer. But the minute I became real with my team and exposure in an appropriate way, it just became game changers. And we next thing you know, we're moving at a faster clip. We were able to be more productive, and that openness becomes super genuine and true. And so I think there's often those games we play in our head, and that can really kind of block, be kind of obstacles in where we're trying to go or what we're trying to do with ourselves. And again, not that we're designed to be just happy all the time. That's not my point, but it's more about the response. It's recognition and response to the trials and the tribulations that you're in, because you want to be challenged. You've got to get out of comfort zones. You've got to find a way, and if you're not loving challenges, find a way to kind of just, maybe it's getting up early, or maybe it's doing one less sugary drink. Who knows, right? But it's just setting something up for little wins, and those little wins just keep adding up to a multitude.
And use fear as a driver. It's learn to two-step with fear. Like if that's your thing, we're born with two, right? Loud sounds and falling. That's it. The rest of them are all developed fears. And so if you develop all these fears, they came from something over your lifetime. And if you have a lot of fear about going forward, just use it. Use it. Okay, I'm going to go two-stepping with fear today because it's going to drive me. I was given a talk the other day and I said, man, I get up every day. I got some fear. But it's never debilitating. It don't slow me down, stop me, or hesitate. I use it. I'm like, dude, I fear failure. I'm just going to be better at it. And so use that fear to drive a result. Tony Robbins talks about using fear. He says, use it. Don't run from it. Don't try to get rid of it. Just use it and capitalize on why it showed up.
Yeah.
Fear, if a bear is chasing you, it's flight or fight.
Right.
Yeah. Right. It's your amygdala. It's saying, okay, fight or flight. I gotta run. thank goodness we've developed some fears about that. But the rest of it is like, no, I can beat the bear. I'm going to have to hurt it right now so I can keep moving.
Yeah. I think
Let's go.
it's
Use the
acknowledge
fear, but use it in an intelligent way.
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Acknowledge the bear. Some people ignore the bear. It's like saying,
Yeah.
no, there is a bear. Let's go. Like, I think that's step
Yeah.
one. You said small steps. Step one, I got a bear. Like, what
Yeah.
am I going to do with this bear? You know?
Just pet the bear. Just pet the bear and say, come on, let's go.
Yeah. Bryan, it's been so lovely to have you here today. What's like value bomb? Jim always talks about value bomb, and I
I
love
like
it.
value bombs, man.
What's
You
the
got to
biggest
deliver a
value-
value bomb for the listeners.
Yeah, like what's a great value bomb they can close this podcast out, that we can close this podcast out with?
Goodness. Well, let me go with the phrase of divorce the pattern, not the person. I believe that oftentimes people just want to like give up on people, and they're just like, there's got to be another solution or another, somebody can do this. And without looking at the pattern that is getting the results that are driving that reason for removal. And so I think it's important to really dissect and really develop in that relationship and navigate what is going on in team members' life that's producing the results that we don't like, or that are producing some negativity. And how can we change that without just cutting ties and hope they float, somewhere else. And so that's one little nugget that I would just share.
That's a really good nugget. I love that nugget. I wrote that nugget down.
That's
is
a
a
value
bomb.
bomb. That's a good phrase, guys. You got to put this in quotes, put it in your journal. Everybody listening, they got to write this thing down. Divorce the pattern. Divorce the pattern, not the person. That's a powerful thing. I just wrote that down. I think that's an amazing quote. It made me think. I got some situations even currently, and I'm not divorcing the individual. I want to build them. I want to keep helping them find their pattern, find their best pattern, and it isn't that today. But I'm going to divorce their pattern, but not the individual. We're going to help them get better.
Yeah.
So good.
Absolutely.
Bryan, thank you so much for spending time with us and sharing all your nuggets. So good to meet you.
Fantastic. Yeah, this is awesome,
Bryan. It's awesome having you on the show today. I was grateful for your time today. Grateful for all the value bombs you've added today. Listeners, write it down, reread your notes. A lot of content today. Thanks for being here, Bryan.